All right, welcome to topic 4. So remember, this is topic 4 of 7. Topic 4 is a great time to just take a peek at your grades. How are you doing? How are your assignments? Do you have them all turned in? Are you getting the participation points each week that you think you should? It's just a great time to take stock because, 3.5 topics is the halfway point. So we're past it a little bit. Now's a great time. Do you need to redirect? Do you need to read more? What do you need to do? Are you confused by what you need to do? Reach out. I can help you. So that's sort of the point we are in the class. Okay, so topic 4 is the Civil War and Reconstruction. Reconstruction was just an abject failure, really. But we'll get to that in a minute. First, on Wednesday, you're responding to the first discussion prompt. What made General Grant different than previous Union generals? And was it General Grant and his strategy, or was it the South is exhausted and without hope? Once once we lose hope, everything becomes very vulnerable. So what are the factors that contributed to Grant's success that made his success different than previous Union generals? Then discussion question 2, the purpose versus the results of Reconstruction. I always point to the Civil War amendments or the Reconstruction amendments. The 13th Amendment to the Constitution, and these amendments are special. There are only 27 amendments to the Constitution. So if something makes it into a formal constitutional amendment, that is important. So the 13th Amendment, it ends slavery nationwide. That was important because the Emancipation Proclamation only ends slavery in the rebel states. But there was slavery going on everywhere. So it ends it nationwide. That one is pretty adhered to pretty quickly. The 14th Amendment, though, equal protection under the law, and the 15th Amendment, those are circumvented by local governments, state governments, and our own Supreme Court. We really don't see the purpose of those amendments coming to fruition until almost 100 years after their ratification, which is their formal addition to the Constitution in 1964 with the Civil Rights Act and 1965 with the Voting Rights Act. So really, the purpose of Reconstruction was good. The results, disaster. They were perverted and circumvented and just a disaster until we see, really, in the 1940s, there was a Supreme Court case, Shelley versus Kramer, and it was about segregated housing, and the Supreme Court said no. Home ownership is not subject to segregation and to certain races. We're not going to exclude. That case covered a covenant in a Missouri neighborhood that forbade Asian or African American persons from owning land in this neighborhood. And then the Shelley family moves in. They had no idea that that was a thing. But they had purchased a home and they're not about to give it up, nor should they. And so this fight goes all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States in the 1940s. And the Supreme Court says, no, you cannot have racially restrictive covenants for property ownership. And that really, we start to see a lot of changes. Then in the 1950s, Brown versus Board of Education, starting to end segregation, but it didn't have all the teeth it needed. So then we have the 1964 Civil Rights Act, which did many good things, including really giving teeth to we're going to end segregation in public places. Then in 1965, the Voting Rights Act. No more poll taxes, no more literacy tests to vote. You have a right to vote. If you meet the criteria, you're going to vote. And there was national government help to end those horrible practices. Then in 1968, we see the Fair Housing Act. So many good things. I really think the purpose of Reconstruction really was not realized until we start to see that Shelley versus Kramer, Brown versus Board of Education, Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, the Fair Housing Act. That's when finally the purposes of Reconstruction, I think, are really realized. But again, it takes 100 years. So it's a tragedy, really, how long it took. And that everything was going on to begin with that necessitated it. Okay, then you are doing a character study. So there's a list of people. Please select from the list. If you feel passionately about somebody who's not on the list, please reach out to me and get a reply back before you go rogue and do somebody not on the list. I have had some really great character studies done on people not on the list. I just want to make sure we're in the right timeline and we're covering the things we need to cover. Pay attention to word counts. You cannot get full credit on an assignment if you have shirked the word count. And that is because the assignment and the word counts are designed to fully develop your answer. If the minimum word count for this is 750 words. If your submission is 300 words, you have not fully developed your answer. So keep that in mind. And then again, a minimum of 3 scholarly sources. So, and remember participation. Topic 4 is a great time. Please look at your participation. Are you getting full participation every week? If not, why? And look at that. Remember, discussions and participation, they need to happen absent just a true emergency. They need to happen within the topic. Assignments can be reassigned and turned in for full credit after the fact if needed. So please, but discussions and participation, that's meant for a conversation with your peers. And so if you're in there all by yourself a week or weeks later, it doesn't really serve the purpose. So keep that in mind. All right, let me know if you have any questions and have a great week.